And so since you've done that healing work on yourself, you have never had a seizure since?
Never. You can change whatever you want in life. You can have whatever you want in life. And that's it. You have to dream big and then dream bigger.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. We have another very special guest who's going to be talking to us about how she has completely transformed her own life through healing herself and even her disabilities. My special guest is Abbie from Abbie's Auras, and I know that this video is going to help and inspire so many people in my audience. So stay tuned, grab your favorite hot drink and enjoy. Abbie, hello.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Please do tell us about your story, because you used to suffer with many seizures a day. And here you are now, seizure free after healing yourself. So please tell us how on earth you made that happen.
Well, I think I just gotten to the point where I was so sick of my life. I didn't know that anything could change. I thought that was just had to happen like that. I didn't know much about the spiritual world. I knew that you could go to like mediums and get your cards read and stuff like that, because I watched my mum doing that as I was younger. And, you know, she passed away a long time ago, which added to the trauma that I had in my body. I had a lot of trauma around my dad, and combined just pushing it down, like trying to just get on with my life. I had a young son as well, so I'm trying to just get on for his sake and just make everything as normal as possible, just ignore everything. But because I was suppressing it all, I just had the worst anxiety and depression, and every time I would go to the doctors, they would just try and give me more medicine, and I was on the waiting list for like over 2 years now, like just to get seen by a counsellor, because they said you just need to get it all out. And I was like, well, I need someone to do that with. So yeah, I basically I went to like this little thing. It's basically where loads of stores were open. There was loads of crystals, and someone doing law of attraction. He had law of attraction cards, and he was doing readings, and my son kept picking them up, and I was like, stop touching, and because I was scared of him breaking a crystal or something. And the guy was like, don't worry about it, it's fine. And I was like, okay. And he was like, sit down, I have a message. He made me sit down to have a reading with him, and I'd only just read The Secret as well. So I'd only just kind of dabbled into it, and I was like, oh, law of attraction, isn't that manifesting thing? And he was like, yes. And then he held my hands and he was like, you have healing hands. And he told me all about Reiki and stuff like and healing. And I was like, that's not for me. I was like, that doesn't work. So I was very skeptical. I really didn't think that, because I just looked at someone and they was just doing this. I was like, how is holding your hands up gonna heal you? It's just not doable. And I thought, a few weeks went by and I thought, you know what, I feel like, why not give it a go? Why just instantly push it away and not even be open-minded? So I basically was on YouTube trying to figure out what this healing was, and there wasn't actually much about it on YouTube at that time. I found a YouTube and they were doing a card reading, and at the end they did a healing session, and I was like, oh, I felt that. And I was like, okay, maybe it does work then. So I just enrolled straight away onto a course and just put all my money into it, and just thought, you know, I'm just gonna actually learn to do it myself so I understand it more, and then I won't be as skeptical. And then I just started to do it on myself rather than anyone else. Like, the course was to heal other people, but I just wanted to do it on myself. And that really opened me up to so many different things. Like, I started to get messages through, and, you know, very clairvoyant, and all the other clairs were just opening. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't know all this was gonna happen. So yeah, I just basically delved right into it, into the deep end. and did energy healing, and I never had a seizure since, which is pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. So you went from having, was it up to
It
6
was on,
seizures a
yeah,
day?
on average, at the worst days were like 6 or 7 a day. I dislocated my jaw. I burnt myself by pouring the boiling kettle over my leg because I didn't know I was going to have one. I was making a cup of tea. Just so many times passing out. I had multiple jobs to try. I was a single mum, so I was trying to provide for my son, and I ended up losing my job as a barmaid because I would just keep passing out. And then the more I would get anxious about whether I was going to pass out, the more the anxiety would make it happen. So it was just constantly, every time I went to work, I would just pass out behind the bar, and they'd have to carry me outside to calm me down. And I ended up getting, let off, not in the mean way, just because my boss cared about me so much, and he was like, you need to look after yourself. Wow. But then it escalated into my business. I was a beautician in a local salon, and I just couldn't turn up for my clients sometimes because I'd had a seizure, sometimes on the way to work, sometimes the night before, and it was like a knock-on effect. So yeah, I lost everything basically.
So it was truly debilitating. You couldn't really live a normal life at all.
No, it was horrible.
And so since you've done that healing work on yourself, you have never had a seizure since?
Never.
Wow. This is such an incredible story. And I think it's important that we do share a big, big, big disclaimer here, because obviously neither Abbie nor I are doctors, and things like seizures can be caused by multiple different things.
Yeah.
And some people suffer from seizures for completely different reasons. But it's very interesting to learn, Abbie, that your seizures were connected to energy, to trauma that you were suppressing. And so then all of that trapped negative energy was then manifesting itself, the true meaning of the word manifesting itself into seizures that were causing you to have 6 seizures a day.
Yeah.
You never know. There might be one person who watches this video, whether they're struggling with something like seizures, or whether their negative energy that they've experienced or that they've collected in their lifetime, whether it's showing up in a different way in their physical body.
Yeah. Or even just to have anxiety or depression itself is so draining. It's such a horrible thing to experience. I remember literally laying under my covers of my bed and crying, and I was so scared. I felt like someone was going to come and get me, and I literally felt petrified, and there was no reason to think someone was going to come and get me, but because my life was being so consumed by it, and then when it's not just the thoughts, it's that actually in physical now, so you're physically not safe, and then you feel unsafe inside. It's just a horrible way. But if you're in that state, you manifest more of it. So I started to actually get a lot of break-ins at that time, but it's because I was manifesting it. Like, I was constantly saying, no, I don't feel safe, I don't feel safe. But now I've just changed my mindset and allowed the energy to release. And when I'm upset or I'm feeling anxious, I allow myself to feel that and let it up, rather than just like, no, ignore that, I don't want to feel that. It's just good to get it out in any way you can.
Would you be happy to share, you said here, I just changed my mindset, but I know that sometimes that can feel a lot easier said than done. So can you give some real actual tips on what kind of things you do on a day-to-day basis that's helped you to change your mindset so much?
At first, I actually had post-it notes all around my house, and I would write, because people would say, do affirmations, and honestly, I'd get to nighttime, oh, I forgot again. So I literally put post-it notes all around my house saying, I am happy, I am positive, I attract good things, because I just didn't see any of it. I wasn't seeing positivity around me at all. So I had to remind myself to actually change my mindset. And then if I would start to feel anxious, I would just say, I would just imagine the white light going over me, And then I would also just say to myself, like, I can be positive. I can choose to be positive. I can choose to be happy, even if it's on the tiniest thing. Like, I constantly talk about cups of teas. Like, I'm a British girl. And I just feel like having a minute, sitting down with whatever drink you prefer and just allowing yourself to be in that moment, and genuinely a cup of tea has just helped me, because I feel like I ignore things so much and I'm constantly on the go to ignore what I'm feeling and experiencing. If you just sit down with yourself and just calm and just tell yourselves good things in that moment. Like, I love this cup of tea. It's so nourishing to me. Like, it makes me feel so happy. And that's what I did at first. I couldn't see the good in a lot of things. And that's just because my mindset was so the opposite. And then the more I seen positive and the more I spoke about it, the more it would happen. And then it would just kept coming more and more into my life. And then I would just, every time I noticed something good, I would talk about it and annoy people because I was constantly talking about it. But that's what I had to do to change my mindset.
Spot on. I love that you've literally walked anyone through the process of how step by step, no matter what you might be going through at the moment, no matter how much in a habit you may be of focusing on the negatives, simply because maybe the people around you have been focused on the negatives, or there's just so much chaos going on in your life. That is such an incredible thing that anyone can do. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think it's important to set the boundaries with other people as well. Like, a lot of people, if you're negative and you talk negatively, you're probably around people that do that also, because you attract what you are. So at first, if people would start gossiping or like talking negatively, I'd be like, no, like, I am not allowing that, because I had to be so strict with myself to get out of that, because every single thing is a decision that the universe is watching. So if you just make that one decision, like, no, I'm not going to listen to that negative conversation, or no, I'm going to choose. I would always call myself stupid because I am dyslexic, and I would always think that means I can't do anything. So then I'd be like, no, I am not stupid. Like, I'm amazing. I've brought up my son all on my own. You know, like, I've run the house. I've had multiple jobs, and I'd have to be very strict with myself to not allow myself to consume that negativity, because otherwise it's very easy to be like on the fence almost.
Wow. Well done. You've completely taken control of your life and your mindset. And now you're seeing how your life has changed, flip 180. I mean, even though, you know, healing yourself from the seizures is possibly one of the most obvious and miraculous things that you've done, I'm sure it's actually just like one of many things
Yeah.
right in your whole life transformation. Am I right in thinking that you now actually help other people, you teach others how to heal themselves as well?
So on my course, I take them through 8 weeks of, I'll go through what they're experiencing, what they need to heal, because sometimes people genuinely don't know what it is. Mine was very obvious, but for some people, they just don't know, and they just feel like, you know, very down, and that's okay. We'll always find out what it is. So I take them through the healing, and I'm healing them. I give them tips on how to heal themselves, and I take them through the healing process, and then we start to reframe their mind, and then they can manifest their future. So for me, that's the way I did it, and that's made it a lot easier to manifest, because I don't have as much negative beliefs on things. Like, I'm very open-minded now, whereas a few years ago I would never have believed all this could happen. So I think it's important to go through the healing process before, as well as the manifesting process, so you could get a positive result, because a lot of people kind of try and manifest and they haven't done any healing, and they have so much resistance around things, and then they kind of believe that they're not able to manifest when everyone is always manifesting.
Wow, I think you've just dropped a massive truth bomb there. So am I right, Abbie, in thinking that what you're saying is that if people have been practicing the law of attraction in terms of the surface level techniques, maybe a bit of
Yeah.
scripting, a bit of visualization, a bit of meditation, but they're not seeing the changes in their life.
Yes,
See
it's
that there's something deeper that needs to be healed.
100% every single time. And I know that, you know, I teach it, so I know what I'm doing. I'm like, I know that if something's not coming to me, I'm like, what do I need to fix inside? And it's never like, oh, I'm broken, there's something that's broken that I can't do. It's just that, okay, there's some kind of energy that is resisting this inside, and let's go inside, see what it is, and just allow to release. Because when we have contrast in our life, it's actually helping us. Like, people don't like it when things go wrong, but it's to show you what's inside. And then it's like the universe's way of saying, like, look, this was the inside of your energy, so I'm just showing you so you can release it and then move forward in a more positive way. So now when contrast comes in my life, I'm like, yes, I'm removing this, and like, I've got this, and I get excited, whereas other people are like, oh no, this has all gone wrong. And I'm like, it's good. Like, you have to embrace it and be friends with it, because you'll just create more of it. So it'll just show you, you know, and you'll see then going throughout your day and your life, every single thing I've worked on, I'm like, okay, that's why. I dig a bit deeper, and I'm like, oh, that's why I've not been able to do that yet. So it's interesting, and sometimes it does take a while, but it's worth the journey.
I think your story is such a great example of how anything that happens to us, you know, at the time 10 years ago, when you hadn't had all of these breakthroughs, when you hadn't healed from a lot of things, and you were experiencing the trauma, and it was being suppressed, and it was manifesting into seizures. I mean, at the time, I can imagine you probably didn't understand why this stuff was happening to you. But now to see how not only have you healed from it, which is great, but the fact that now you can, from your real life experience, help so many other people. Looking back, I'm sure it makes a whole lot more sense why you experienced those things.
100%. I feel like I was meant to go through it to then help others. And my son is he's very empathic, and he takes on a lot of people's energy and emotions. Just this morning, I was a little bit nervous because I've never left my daughter for this long before. I like to keep them very close. And we was walking to my sisters, and he was saying, it's okay, just imagine us having loads of fun and being kind to each other, and then just imagine everyone is doing the same to you. And I was like, I'm glad I went through what I did, so now I can make sure he is okay in himself, because he's very emotional. And I want to be able to, if that ever happens, you know, if they ever get anxiety, I want them to be able to feel comfortable, rather than a lot of my family don't really understand anxiety. If my mum was still here, she would have been amazing, but you know, that's part of it. You know, we've just got to go through things to help other people, and I am very grateful that I went through all I did. Very weird to say, but I am.
Wow. And may I ask, how old are you, Abbie?
I'm only 26.
26 years young, 26 years wise. I think actually, you know, you've experienced so much and grown so much in your life so far that you have, you know, an understanding of things that people maybe even 4 times your age don't often have. You've chosen it. As you said, it's been a decision. You've made the decision to turn your life around. You've made the decision to take control of your own life, of your own emotions, of your own body, of your own health. And thank you for being such a shining example. Sign me up to your course, by the way. I'm in. I want to do it. I want to do this 8-week course. It sounds amazing. Maybe what we can do is, if anybody else is interested in joining us for the course, should we put the details down below in the description? You've got the website up and running and everything like that now, right?
Yeah.
So we're ready to go.
Just before we go, I want to just say that when you're I still have bad days, you know, I'm not constantly like a ray of sunshine. Like, sometimes when things happen, it does get me down a little bit. And I just want to say, like, you know, like when you have that one person that's just like gives you a little bit of a kick up the bum, like, look how amazing you are, calm down, it's fine. It is good to have people around you. So I could be that person in the course, but also lean on your friends and family and explain what is happening and what you're going through, because a lot of the time people don't really want to say what they're going through because they don't want to burden other people, or they're a bit embarrassed. But I found that my pride really didn't help me. So just put your pride aside, and people will then feel comfortable around you to express to you too. So you can do anything you want out in life. You do not have to have obstacles actually stop you from manifesting your dream life. I thought that life was just happening and that's what we have to deal with, but you can change whatever you want in life. You can have whatever you want in life, and that's it. You have to dream big and then dream bigger.
Dream big and then dream bigger. I love that. What a fantastic note to end on. Abbie, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on as a guest today. And I'm really looking forward to this healing journey that we have ahead of us. Abbie's YouTube channel will also be linked down below. If you haven't done so already, give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring my bell so that you never miss another video. Thank you again, Abbie, for joining us. Lots of love, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.